Hey everybody, this is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. This is our weekly live stream where we talk about whatever we want to talk about. It's just a chance for us developers, just for us whoever, just to hang out and chill. And you may, this has been an interesting week. It's been a busy week for me, but we got a lot to talk about because a lot has happened in terms of Google Play in-app purchases and them clarifying the rules and stuff around that, which has been interesting, right? We got some stuff to talk about with Flutter. And other than that, we're just going to hang out. We're just going to chill. For me, I've just been working on, just seems like nonstop. I've been doing work on a Flutter application, which is, it's a learning experience. It's not one that I started, so the architecture is still it's just refactoring it. I did a video about it last week. I'm working on a couple of Xamarin projects, which are going really well. I'm discovering a lot of Xamarin resources, which I'm really enjoying. And other than that, just a week. So anyway, let's see who's here. We got, and by the way, for those of you guys who, if you enjoyed the live stream this week, or even if you don't enjoy it, come on, it's going to kill you to hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the like button. That'll be kind of cool. First of all, we got Anonymous Zicky. Anonymous Zicky. I had a Zicky once. Anonymous Zicky says, waiting to connect. You very interesting. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm following your channel a long time, Eric, and know a few of your apps that are on the Play Store too. Yeah, dude, to tell you the truth, Anonymous Zicky. By the way, if you're going to be anonymous, the picture, you don't need to put the picture, but yeah, to be honest with you, I haven't done a lot on the Google Play Store in a while. It's been a little while. Let's see. We've got you're sharing good information, and one noted thing is energetic in all your videos. Energetic. I'm trying to be more chill today. I'm trying to be more, smooth. I don't know if you could pick up on it, but I'm trying to change a few things just to, just trying to be all, smooth. Let's see. We've also got John Reed. Hey, John, I'm doing really well. Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm kind of catching up. All right, I haven't got any videos done this week. It's just been flat out just working. I feel like I'm just catching up. Like I'm getting, whereas before I kind of felt like things were getting away with me in terms of client projects, getting them done. At least now that I've taken control of them, I'm doing them myself. And so it's been a good week. It feels good to, to take charge sometimes. But from a business point of view, not the best. Let's see. We've got Martin Bitt. Hello. Hey, how's it going, Martin? Hi. Let's see. Billy. Eric got a tie today. Yeah, I thought I'd spruce it up a little bit, be a little bit more, try a bit more suave and sophisticated. But yeah, thanks for noticing, Billy. Let's see. We got Chord Funk. Yo, Chord Funk. Cirillo Bido. Hey, how's it going? And Prosper Gunner says, new intro, new look, love it. Yeah, you know what? This is what boredom will do to you on a Friday afternoon. I mean, if you look at the thumbnail for the video, which my my VA put up this morning, damn, that music's loud. Let me turn that down a little bit on my retro Spotify. So yeah, my VA put an image up today, and it was all bright and colorful. And I thought, it's a gray, rainy, nasty day here. Let's be gray. Let's be gray today. So, and let's say, and we've also got Shungo Walker says, new to the channel. Hey, Shungo, welcome. Really glad to have you. All right, so there's a couple things that happened this week. First of all, there was the Google Play started getting a lot more clear about the 30%. Let's share my screen over here. Let's see. So we've got we had this article this week where Google to enforce the 30% take from in-app purchases next year. Dude, I thought they were enforcing it before. So this is kind of a big thing. You guys probably got the Google policy update if you're a Google Play developer this week. But basically, they give you this clarification on the policies here, which is like, and effective from January 20th, 2021. So for me, when I work with clients, my whole thing is to tell them, dude, you want people to go to like another application, go to another app and do like maybe like a website and then register through there. You see a lot of services do that, but I guess because of all the stuff with Epic and all the big hoo-ha about that, I guess they're just really just clamping down on it. So, and this is something that clients ask me about all the time. Do we have to do an in-app purchase with the 30%, or could we just charge using something like a Stripe plugin or PayPal or whatever? And here's the kind of things that where they do it. Anything that's like virtual item, extra lives, currencies, playtime, add-on items, characters and avatars, subscription services, app functionality, content, cloud software and services. Things that are not on that would be stuff like purchase or rental of physical goods, for the purchase of physical services like cleaning services. I mean, this is the Uber type of stuff, gym memberships, peer-to-peer payments, that kind of stuff. So it's a really good clarification on it, but it just seems like they're clamping down on it. And the fact that they're clamping down on it means we could have been getting away with it earlier. At least some of my clients could have. But I guess you have until the 20th of January. So we only got, what was that, 3 or 4 months away? So that's interesting. Let's see, who else we got here. Cyril Walker says, I'm an Android developer. I've been following you for a while. Good content. Thanks very much, Cyril. I know I haven't done much in the last few weeks, just because, well, we've covered this already, but I appreciate that. Let's see. Monica A says, hi, Eric. Greetings from Poland. Good vibes. Good vibes. Fantastic. Yo, cowboy. Yo, cowboy Eric. Hola from Pakistan. That's not cowboy Eric. I was supposed to be like Detective Eric. I'm supposed to be like, this is my detective mode here. But thanks. All right. So yeah, an interesting week with all that kind of stuff. All right. So this is one of the problems I've had today. So, this is one of my pet peeves, and I think I probably talked about this on a video before, is when I have developers, when I give them access to a Git repository, and in return, when they give me the code, they either give me a zip file, which I say, no, I want this in Git, or they set up a separate Git repository, right? This is something that I spent about 3 hours today just trying to get access to the latest code for the developers have been working on Git, and they start sending me new repositories. So it'll be like, whatever, it'll be, ABC project, and they'll send me ABC project _current or _September. And you're like, nah. That's not how source code works. You check things in so you have that history and all this kind of stuff. It's just one of these pet peeves. And it's like, so as a developer, if you're going to be a developer, especially if you're going to charge as a developer, you need to know how to use source code control, either Git or, I was going to say Subversion, but does anybody still use Subversion? You got Git, you got, well, Git's really it, isn't it? I mean, I guess if you're a Microsoft guy, you might still have that Team Foundation server, but let's see. Let's see. Rodian Sabbath says, what happened to you? What do you mean what happened to me? I'm cool. I'm good. I'm laid back. I'm cool. Let's see. Gumshoe Edition, Love Noir development. See, I'm glad you get it. Yeah, Gumshoe, not Cowboy. Cowboy, come on. God, you know what? It's like, yeah, I'm trying to be all, just for, for fun. Let's see. Now you do look like 007 3.0. Oh, nice. Oh, Mafia Boss Eric. Oh, Mafia Boss is even better. We're gonna make them an in-app purchase they can't refuse. Let's see. Mr. Bean says, "How are you, sir? Sir, how are you? I'm good. GitLab versus GitHub. What GitHub? So my preferred Git repository is Bitbucket, just because they had like the most generous free tier early on. and I've been using Bitbucket for 8 years, something like that. I mean, Bitbucket's been the one that I go to. A lot of people, when they hear Git, they think, especially people who are new into it. I said, well, we use Git. And they go, oh, GitHub? No, we use Git, which is the, you could host Git yourself. Git is open source, but GitHub is the, the repository. I mean, in the early days, I used to, be really cheap. So I'd have my own server and I would host Git on that. But then you have to worry about backups and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of times just spending a few dollars a month on something like Bitbucket or GitHub is good. And a lot of people, like I've had developers use GitHub and they're using the free version of GitHub, which doesn't have private repositories, or at least it didn't used to, which is scary AF. Like when somebody working on your project and they just have it like publicly available on Git. I mean, that's just something that really gets me. Mr. B says, thank you for your videos. No problem. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I really appreciate you guys' liking and subscribing and supporting all over the years. This is one of the, okay, so to be honest with you guys, my team and I've been trying to get rid of this backlog of client work so that we can focus more on doing more videos. So I want to get back to doing them as much as I was before. I used to do them 7 days a week. I was doing 5 days a week, then 7 days a week. And, it just felt good. It just, it was like getting something off my chest each and every day. And sometimes they sucked. Maybe some people would say that most of the time they sucked. But you know what? It was fun to do, just to be able to express your opinion, which is nice why I don't miss the lives. I don't ever miss doing the live streams, because this is like a lot of times the highlight of my week is to talk to you guys. I think I've had these kind of weeks because I've been just coding. I've been code monkey this week. I've had days where I don't talk to anybody, right? It just goes on. I'm having this a lot, like, I have a Skype conversations and Slack conversations and a little bit here, and I'm just exchanging emails, but like no like human interaction at all. And I think as it's starting to get dark and everything, I just get a bit kind of on the depressing side. So at least I get to talk to you guys. Rizwan says, I use GitLab for their grouping feature only. What's grouping feature? Let's see. Of course, I use Time Machine. Just kidding, dude. This is it. There are two types of developers. There are those who have experienced a data failure, a hard disk failure, and those who have not. Those who have experienced a hard disk failure have backups and backups. So I have 2 hard drives for Time Machine. Of course, everything gets checked into Git because, who knows if the apartment explodes. Hopefully the apartment would explode and I'm not in it. But if it did, I'll be like, all the code, right? All the code. So so that's kind of, so yeah, you have the backups and the backups of the backups. So One Eye Dream says, I recently moved from Android native to Flutter plus Firebase. I found it awesome. Let's talk about Firebase. So I've been doing a lot of Flutter this week. And this is like a lot of times on the live stream when we look at other people's apps, there's certain things that that Flutter doesn't really do very well. I mean, this is a good thing, which is gray buttons, right? Whenever I look at somebody else's application and they have like the gunmetal gray buttons, the default gray buttons, it bothers me. It's like just a little bit of flavor and color, some rounded corners, some drop shadows maybe, depending on what you wanted to do. And there's a lot of stuff you could do with Flutter. I like Flutter because it's fluid. Xamarin, which I use a lot too, is it's not so fluid, but there's a lot of really good tutorials out there on making good interfaces. Like there's one called Ask Xami, which is a lady, I think in the Dominican Republic. She does all these like how to do interfaces. In fact, one of my favorite things to watch on YouTube lately is, let's take this interface and let's create it in Flutter, or let's take this interface and we're going to, in speed code and create it in XAML. And that's something I like to do. But yeah, I enjoy doing that. Let's have a look at my screen here again, because this was another thing that was announced a few weeks ago, which is, Google Pay picks Flutter to drive its global product development. So it's, when we talk about Google, if they were ever to drop Flutter, they are, this is from the 18th, just say, Visual create a simple, secure program. So, they're using Flutter in earnest for some of their big projects, which is it's just growing in popularity in terms of, and I think for me, the way that I'm leaning on this is if I go from native, I'll only do native if I have to do native, and then one up from that is Flutter. Then you've got the other ones. You got React Native. I guess Xamarin. I would say to me, Xamarin and Flutter are on the same kind of level, but I think Flutter is a lot more nuanced. I think it's if I have to choose between Flutter and Xamarin, I'm really enjoying working with Flutter. I like the hot reload, the state management. Well, not the state management. I mean the stateful widgets and everything like that. But I do find data binding in Xamarin much easier. So just being able to take a control, like to load up your object, take a control and bind to that object and have it, all the property change events and everything happen much easier in Xamarin. But Flutter, I like the fluidity of the interface. It's a bit like when I went from desktop development to web development. One of the things I loved about HTML was that if you didn't need a control, you just don't show it, right? The page will take up that space. I mean, you don't have like a big gap like you would on a desktop application. On a desktop application, at least a Visual Basic, which is what I used at the time, you would drag these buttons on and then you would keep that button there and you either hide it, which you just have this gap, or you would disable it, right? And I still, to this day, I still have clients or people that I do stuff for that where they want stuff disabled. They said, can we just disable that button? And I go, well, how will the user enable it? And so, well, they won't because they don't have access to it, but admin users will. And I've never seen the point of showing somebody something that they couldn't use unless you wanted them to ask, hey, what's this? How do I get access to it? But like if you have something, like to give you an example, if you have something where you have a manager and employees and a manager, or let's say admin and regular users, and the admin has a special something they could do and regular users don't, the regular users don't need to see a disabled button, right? That's just kind of one of those things, and it's sometimes it could be there's a bit of an argument there that I have sometimes where they're just like, no, because we need to have consistency between the interfaces. I said, well, it's only consistent if you have two people looking at the phones at the same time. That's a little bit of a rant. Thanks everyone for smashing the like button, by the way. Assume it says, sir, is it necessary to learn all programming languages for Android development? Yes, you have to learn every single one of them. I mean, and there's going to be new ones that come out. You have to learn those too. No, it's not necessary to learn all the languages. I mean, you just learn the one that you work best with. I mean, because your end users don't know what it is. Now, if you're looking to get a job as a developer, then yeah, you have to look at what kind of job do you want to get, right? So, and that's where you'd have to look at the market if you're just getting into it. So is it, by looking at what jobs are available in your area, is it better to be a native developer or a Flutter developer or React Native? For some reason here, it seems like React Native is really popular at the moment in terms of like jobs and stuff. And I think Flutter will probably get to that point. But so yeah, if your goal is to get a job, then yeah, you do need to think about the language. But if you're doing it for an app that you can release to the public, then you should. Personally, I think that if you're going to get into app development, you should do something where there is a market for it. Because if your app doesn't take off, then you could get a job doing that and get better at it and getting better at your skills. And, so that way you're not desperate. There's so many times where I've talked to people, this is something I was planning on doing a video on, but I've been talking to a lot of people lately who are like, I need an app that makes money. What should I make? Or, this app is my sole income. Like, why isn't it making any money? I've put everything into this. And it's like, it's a huge risk to take. Whereas if you put something out there and it's something that you love doing, and then people, then you're able to make it better and better, then people go, like, you don't make a vehicle for advertising and then try to think what to put into it. You make something that's really good and then you draw the audience, and then that's drawing the audience in is what makes advertising work. But it's a bit of a thing. But yeah, you don't need to learn all languages. Johnny Dollar clone. I don't know what that is. What's Johnny Dollar? I don't know what Johnny Dollar is. Is that am I copying somebody that I don't know about? Cirillo says, in your experience, can you tell me how many advantages developing hybrid versus native applications can give? Well, the big obvious ones are native is going to be more performant. You're not going to have any reliance on plugins or other people's code or third-party plugins in order to get something to work. The big benefit of hybrid is you can go both to iOS and Android at the same time. Now, if you have no intention of ever releasing an iOS app, like you're like, I'm only Android, I don't want to bother with getting a Mac, I don't want to have to deal with any of that kind of stuff, then yeah, you might as well just go, might as well go native, right? But for me, it's been, I want to have something where I get the code reused across, many platforms. Many platforms, 2 platforms, right? It's, there's always like something else. Like I don't think so much about Amazon Store, which is Android, but or Windows Mobile especially. It was, that was always an option, and now it's like not even ever really talked about. A lot of these applications, like where you have, you can make a Mac OS application, which I guess you can do now with iOS 14. Although I haven't really looked into any of that kind of stuff. Let's see. Rohit says, "Oh my God, I've traveled back in time to the 1940s." Dude, yeah, well, look, you know what? The one thing I couldn't do, I couldn't figure out a way to make my desktop look black and white, or the fact that I have a giant, ridiculously large computer in front of me. But let's see. Yeah, Bitbucket is good. Yeah, I like Bitbucket before Jira bought it. Not Jira. What is it? Who's company that owns Jira? They just took over everything. It's like I'm tired of having to use their login for everything, like Trello and everything like that. Rodian says separate full version versus in-app purchase to make in full. What do you think? I would do both, right? If you if you could only do one, I would go with in-app purchase, right? It's the reason about having the full version is I get a lot of people buying the full one. A lot of my stuff was educational, so I would get like big purchases from schools and stuff like that. So if you have something where you have like an educational game and you might have somebody buy it in bulk, then they would just want to buy it. They're not going to have to worry about like the in-app purchases and restoring all that kind of stuff. And so far, I've never had a problem with that. Even with the repetitive content stuff, even with the Google 4.3 guideline, or Apple 4.3 guidelines, I've never had a trouble with doing 2 versions, the full version and the paid version. And most of the time, they're exactly the same, except for there's a variable within it that says is full. So if I do an in-app purchase, we'll store locally saying the is full version just switches everything on, or whatever features it does. It could be one variable if like it's like one switch that says go from free to paid, or you can have it do other stuff. So it all kind of works out pretty well. Let's see. Sumit says, which language is most popular for Android development? Sumit, I would think it would probably be Kotlin. Actually, no, I would think it would be Java, to be honest with you. And I think Kotlin is what it's going to become. Let's see. com.st.stunning-fake-girls. Oh, nicely said. Can you check my app? It sounds like all right. I've had low downloads for 2 years. Okay, stunning fake girls. All right, I'm going to look at this, but if this is a trick, if I'm being had, I'm going to be very upset with you there, Mr. Bean. So let's go with, we'll go to Google Play. Let me just go into a random application. I'm going to bring up my screen here. I'm going to check it first before I show it on the screen, because stunning fake girls. Just make sure it's like appropriate. Let's go apps. Let's see, com.st.stunning fake girls. There we go. All right, let's have a look. We're gonna have a look at this. All right, so this is the application. Sexy girlfriend calling prank fake call. Girlfriend calling, Rosie, girlfriend calling. Okay, so you had low downloads for 2 years, but you've got 19,505 reviews. You've got 5 million plus installs. Is this the right one? How can I get more downloads? It looks like you're doing pretty well on this, unless you just wanted to get a bit of stuff. I mean, to me, it looks a bit. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, that's something that looks like you're doing pretty well. If I'm looking at the right one. So I'm a bit gun shy about this because last week somebody said you're being had, and it's because somebody for the last couple of weeks have been asking me to look at their app, right? And it was like, and there's like, and it's like 2 weeks in a row where nothing had changed. There's a bunch of fake reviews on it, and he's like, you're being had. They just want you to look, you give exposure again and again. So I'm a little bit that. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but see. Boris says, what's up, my boy Eric? What's up, Boris? I'm doing pretty well. Doing good. Let's see. In case of fire, git commit, git push, and get out. You forgot git add dot. Git add. Yes, you're right. Git commit. Or is that? I always have to do git add just to make sure I add any files that have been created, and then that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. GitHub has free private repo now since Microsoft bought GitHub. Oh, okay. Well, that's good then. See, Robert T says, I just switched from Dropbox to Google Drive for backing up my local machine. Dropbox kept crashing and ended up being a headache. Yeah, Google Drive, I don't use it to back up my machine. I did used to use the, what was it called? Carbonite or something like that. Which was like a offline, or sorry, yeah, like an online backup thing. But it took like, this must be like 6 or 7 years ago. It took forever to back up like my entire computer. So in the end, I just, I've got the iCloud. So I've got the extra iCloud space. So at least all my documents are backed up in iCloud, which is, you know, dude, I've gone full Apple, right? I'm not an Apple fanboy, but I've just gone full Apple sometimes. I went to the Apple store last week to get my AirPods fixed because, well, replaced because some guy washed them in the washing machine. I washed them in the washing machine. They were in my gym shorts, and I just, you know. So yeah, I had to go into the Apple store and say like, yeah, I don't know what happened. No, I said, look, all right, I washed them in the washing machine. They were really nice about it. He said like, all right, this one doesn't look like it. This one definitely has had water damage. This one doesn't look like it is. So we're just gonna like replace it because it's still under warranty. So which was kind of nice. Cost me 65 pounds, right? Which at least I didn't have to buy new ones. Boris says, Eric, do you believe Google and Apple will drop the 30% legal steal tax? No, I do not. They seem to be doubling down on it. That's one of the weird things about this whole announcement this week with Google is that they're just like, you know, they're just owning it, right? And part of me, like, I've always thought the 30% was a lot. But I knew it going in, right? And this is the thing with Epic. Epic knew it going in, right? They, you know, everybody knows it going in that this is a high thing. You could either, you know, go on our platform or not. You know what would be really nice is if one of them, like maybe say Amazon, you know, said, okay, we're not going to do 30%. We're going to do 10%. We're going to do 5%, right? So it's cheaper to actually do that. And then Epic would be saying, hey, if you want to use this, go to the Amazon store. So you have that competition. But the fact that they've all agreed on 30% is just, you know, how is that not a monopoly? I mean, how is that not price fixing? Not to say that I don't know very much. Not to say I know about these kind of laws and stuff, but let's see. Cirillo says, I'm from the Dominican Republic. Oh, cool. So yeah, that was just, yeah, it was, God, I forgot her name, but she does a blog called Ask Zammy about Xamarin, which is kind of cool. Mr. Bean's from India. Hey, Mr. Bean. Shungo Walker says, do you need a progressive web app and the traditional the store app in order to succeed in the app industry? I don't think, I mean, your users will only go to one of those places, right? And I don't know about many progressive web apps that have actually done like financially really well. I haven't heard any stories of that. The nice thing that attracted me to the App Store to begin with was how easy it is to make a purchase, right? It's easier than, using anything else. Even PayPal makes things a little bit easier, like through the web, but you still have that, that kind of, I gotta get my wallet out, do this stuff, and it's just so much easier to make those small micropayments on an application. And I know there is a payments API in progressive web apps, and some people are so into progressive web apps that they're like, it has to work. But I'm trying to look at it from a point of view of progressive web apps get around the App Store, and I'm not talking about that 30%, which is significant, but getting around that whole review process, that whole they're free and open so that you can actually do that, but you're still on so I guess I don't think you need to do both. But if you're going to do it, like when we do it for a client, if we're doing something in Ionic, we'll offer to do both just because it's easier, although it's more testing. Drago Alive says, how do you handle font sizes on Flutter or Xamarin? Do you make it scale based on the device screen? Yes. So I had this issue with the Xamarin project where we had I have a density of, I set a default density of 3, and then I check the width. God, was it? God, there's some calculation where I do the check the dimensions to get the width and the height, so that if it's like greater than that, I'll stick with the 3. Otherwise, I'll divide 3 by. I do a calculation. So in the beginning, I would like the easy thing would be to do the font size, like in the code itself. So I just have font size is 8. Well, not 8. So say 20. Right, but then it got to the point where like on older Android devices, especially where you have a really low screen density, then it was like this huge font, right? And that was like when I have a client come to me and said, "This looks bad on this Android device." You're like, "Oh." So I had to go through and remove all of those with a global constant saying, whatever font 20, I would say font size 20 was the name of the constant. And then, of course, on some devices, on the lower resolution devices, it's not actually 20. It might be like, whatever, 12 or whatever, depending on the calculation. It's a decimal because it's done based on the calculation. But that's how I've done it in the past, which is a pain, right? And so, yeah. And on Flutter, I haven't noticed that. But now that you bring it up, I'm wondering whether or not I should test it on those lower resolution devices. Shabir says, my app has organic traffic, but AdMob is terminated due to invalid traffic. What can be the issue? App has only 2 activities, 1 banner, 1 interstitial only. Is it so? AdMob is terminated. I would appeal the termination if you think it's wrong. Mention that you think it could be click sabotage, right? And if it's terminated, if your AdMob is terminated, it's got to be serious. Usually what they will do is they'll limit it first, but definitely appeal it and go back to them. I mean, and if they don't hear anything back from the appeal, keep appealing it. DeCarlo Calloway says, Eric, can you talk about server costs? I'm launching an app that has lots of data and I'm unsure what to expect cost-wise as we gain users. So for server costs, like, I'm a big fan of Firebase, using Firestore and stuff like that. So I'm doing some of the newer applications. That's what we're doing. But like I've also seen like on Firebase real-time database, I mean before Firestore, those costs, they got huge. Like because a lot of times we're doing calculations, you have to download the entire thing, and the download costs on Firebase were scary expensive, right? So one of the options is to go something like just get like a server on DigitalOcean's the one that is my preference at the moment. I used to do AWS, but AWS can get expensive too, and AWS seems to be ridiculously difficult sometimes. But I use AWS when it comes to like so for me when it comes to image hosting or anything that's kind of CDN related. So let's say I have a PDF download, I won't do that through Firebase. I'll do that through Amazon S3 because it's a lot cheaper. If it's something where I need to host PHP or something, or the developers do PHP, or I want to do Node, and I don't want to do something like Firebase, then I'll just do a DigitalOcean server. Or say I've done kind of like all of them, and the one that scared me the most in terms of cost was Firebase, and I was using real-time database. My developers had done something where they had to do these calculations once every 5 minutes, and they were just downloading the whole thing onto another server. If they'd done a cloud function, it would have been so much easier. It would have been so much less expensive because you want to have those download costs. But it was, we had like, God, this is something stupid. We had like 10 test users, and we were already exceeding our free limit, and I end up paying like a few hundred, and it hadn't even gone live yet. But server costs are definitely a consideration. So this is one of the nice things about using Firebase is that it's got a generous free tier, and if server costs go up, then that should be a good thing. Then you should be monetizing. There's nothing worse because and you want something with a good free tier. Because let's say you don't get a lot of users and then you're paying for a server. Then you're paying for something and you're just not getting the traction, and you have to either shut it off because you're not making any money from it, which was something I've had to do. And I have a bunch of the few users that I have are all angry with me, but I'm like, it's not making enough money. It's not making enough money for me to even pay the server costs. All right. Otherwise, you've got the free servers like Firebase is a good one, and because then you can scale up, right? You can scale up if you have to, and you don't have to worry about that. But if you don't get those users, you're still not paying anything. You're still on the free version. But specifically, and it depends on which technologies you're using stuff too. Let's see. Vishnu says, "Hi sir, how is app revenue on Google Play recently?" For me, it's been low. I mean, I'm making like £10 a day or something like that, 8 or 10 pounds a day. How can I get my account back? The only way you can get your account back is to appeal it, right? And if they deny the appeal again, right? You and make sure you don't just talk about. Don't complain. Don't say I think this is unfair. Say my users really enjoy using this application. I think you're doing a disservice to the people who use Android. I think whatever, and just try to do it that way. And it depends. And I also kind of think it depends on why it was removed. Phil J says, "Hey Eric, happy Friday. Wet today." It is wet today. It's just nasty and gray, and you know what? This is perfect programming weather. Like I don't have to feel guilty about I should be outside. I should be enjoying the nice day. No, I can close the windows and turn up the music and just slip back in the seat, put the seat back, and just right, guilt-free. And I don't have to mow the lawn. I don't have a lawn anymore anyway. But I have to, it's just like there's no guilt. I just released a new version of my app after a year. Hey, congratulations. And it's been making money over that entire year. It sounds like passive income to me, growing steadily at about 750 USD a month. Who knew? That's fantastic. That's really good. Wow. That is, nice. Let's see, 5 million installs. Yeah, that, it kind of seems like if there's 5 million installs, you wouldn't need, to ask me how to improve the app. It's published 5 years ago. If it's published 5 years ago and it has 5 million installs and it's kind of declined, I would see what's taken over from it. You could have a copycat out there that does the same kind of thing. Let's see. Cirillo says, "Can you check these apps?" Yeah, I didn't see what it was. YouTube will remove it if there's a link in there. So you might need to just put it in there again. If you put the package name, you'll get a look at it. Hey, Eric, Ron Deere says, "Hey, Eric, Apple fanboy." You know what? I guess I am. I am going that way. I think it's just, I'm going to end up wearing ironic T-shirts and hanging out in coffee shops and just being like just a miserable guy wearing, become an Apple guy. I can't become an Apple guy. That means I can't ever go to McDonald's again because I got to just be like, I don't go to that place. Dude, I love going to McDonald's. I can't give it up, right? I can't just start eating salads and thinking I'm better than everybody. Okay. When I think, well, I used to work at this contract, and there's this one guy. He was like always talking about like, nice thing about the Mac is it just works. It just works. The Mac is, they just, and it was always talking about the design, all this stuff, and he wasn't a developer, right? Because if he was a developer, I would just tell him to shut the F up, right? You know what you're talking about. But he was always talking about it, and we'd also talk about he's never been to a McDonald's in his life, and I was thinking, really, you never been to McDonald's in your life? So that's kind of where I go. Boopendeer says, why didn't I get notification today? I don't know. Should I call you next time? Let's see. Mr. Bean says, sir, can you tell me how to sell my app? I want to sell it. What, the fake sexy girl? Is that what this is about? I would say I've never sold an app. Boopendeer says, who the hell are these two persons always dislike your videos? Your high school friends, maybe. Yeah, it could be anybody. It could be competitors. It could be, maybe people just don't like me. Maybe people just, it's one of those things I got to get used to. I'm 48 years old, and when I find out somebody doesn't like me, it still kind of bothers me. I am so shallow that way. I am so shallow. When it comes to that kind of stuff. But you know what? We got 3 thumbs down though, so thanks guys. But thanks everybody for the thumbs up, so I really appreciate it. Eli Stark, awesome picture, says, hello Eric, I watched your videos and you said in some of them that your big app constantly being removed from Google Play. Why? And how do you prevent this? To prevent it, you just got to keep appealing it. So I've had it, my big app has been removed 3 times, been suspended 3 times. And all 3 times I appealed it. The last time they reinstalled it, and then I think the last time when it was actually suspended the 4th time, I just gave up. And you know what? I started thinking about afterwards. It could have been the competitors. All right, I have been constantly getting competitors. Sorry, not competitors. Copycats. Like there's just one of the things I would not encourage any of you guys to do is to say, like, if you have an app that's doing well, don't tell anybody, because then everybody's like, oh, that's working, let's do that. So and the copycats are still out there. And then I started thinking about afterwards, it could be the copycats that like said, that made a complaint about my app and it was removed, right? Because I've done that to them, but mine was the first, and it's weird. It is in some ways, I mean, it's infuriating and just kind of like taking your ego out of it. It's just weird that you've done something that has been copied again and again and again. Even some of the stuff I've done, like on this channel, when I see somebody does like something at the same, I'm like, wow, they're just like, did they get that from me? But when it came to those ear spy clones, I mean, it's like, it's just disgusting, right? And it's one of those things, like if you have an app that does well, you got to look after that. You have to, we were going in on a weekly basis and just making a list of all these copycats and removing them, getting them removed by reporting them to Google Play, and they would pop up again under different app names, different developer names, different whatever, and it was just like, it was, but yeah, so it's difficult. So to prevent it, okay, to give you an example, Eli, it's difficult to prevent because I've had an app removed. I had my whole account suspended or terminated because it was at the beginning of the coronavirus stuff, and I had an app called Spanish Bubble Bath, which had nothing to do with corona or diseases or anything, and they suspended it due to sensitive events policy, right? Which had nothing to do with, so the algorithm, it wasn't a person who suspended it, it was the algorithm, and most of the time it's an algorithm that will get you. So you have to appeal it so that a person reviews it and then turns it back on, right? You don't just say, oh man, this is so unfair. You have to just keep appealing it, right? And so I did appeal it, and I did get the account reinstated, right? Because it was like and it was because it was a 3rd suspension in a short amount of time. I probably should have appealed the other ones too, but but I did get it turned on. And when this one thing, if you get suspended or your app gets suspended, you get it reinstated, then you're like walking on eggshells. It's difficult to be, put a little bit of edge into it, try something new. You're like, cool, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I want to try that keyword because I don't want to get, and it's like, Yeah, sometimes you can have an abusive relationship with Google. Um, I know that probably doesn't answer very well. Hello, Eric. Hey, Divyanshu. Uh, do you believe that Flutter is for babies? No, I don't believe it. No, I do not. No, I do not. Because some developers made videos on that topic. Really? Look, you know what? Every time you have a language that is simple to learn, you're going to have people who just spaghetti code it, right? I think PHP is a horrible language. But when you look at like professional PHP developers, they're using proper design patterns, they're using proper frameworks, they're doing things in a way that's scalable, right? And it's the same with Flutter. If you're just going to go in and just do your one widget and put everything in one widget or one file, it's going to be, it is going to be like just a horrible thing. But if you start using, classes and inheritance and all the other programming things that are just important, then you can have a very good scalable system. So no, I do not believe that. Fist007 says, hi, Eric. I'm a little bit late today. That's a great costume. And the image, and why is the image in grayscale? Just cause I'm bored. Because we do the live stream the same every single week. And I thought, we just change it up a little bit. Get a little bit classier. Let's see. Bhupinder says, hi, Eric. I think I'm colorblind because I only see you screen black and white. Well, this is it. So yeah, but your avatar is good there. Let's see. Northern play. It's been like that since the start. It has been like that since the start. How do I know if my app will make it or not? Currently, I have made $1.67 since April. Dude, if I knew the answer to that, I mean, if you made $1.67, I think somebody thought it was worth it, right? What do your reviews look like? Your problem is either that people are using the application and they don't like it and they're not spending money on it, or they don't know the application exists, right? And it depends on if you made $1.67 and you've had 1 million users, then there's a problem. If you have made $1.67 and you had 5 users, dude, I would figure out how to get it discovered, right? So it really depends on that. It's more like a percentage of like how many downloads and stuff you've had. But if you have something, you've got a drip of money. How do you expand on that, right? Is it, so DeCarlo Calloway, thanks, Eric. Really appreciate it. Hey, no problem. I had the same issue regarding server costs. I was hosting my web app on Azure, and we were 2 users only testing it. I had to pay $90 for the testing a month. What the heck? I moved the app. Yeah, sometimes it can be surprising. To shared hosting to test it. Yeah, this is it. One of the things I'm doing this stuff on Firestore, because I've been burned by a real-time database before. I'm trying to minimize the cost, because you're charged based on you get a certain amount of free reads and writes on each document, which is like a JSON object. So previously in the real-time database, if you wanted to do something, you would have depending on how far up you went, if you wanted to, you would have to traverse the whole tree and everything like that, which would be all these reads and stuff. But now the Firestore, the pricing is a lot different. So you could just go get the 1 bit and then have those nested objects in there. So but yeah, that's one of those things that because I've been burned by that, I've been thinking about that a lot. How do we minimize how do we cache things locally and stuff like that? UK Bass says, I was amazed to find that there's a free service called Free MySQL DB. It's popular and proved useful a few times. Check it. I don't work there. Okay. Shabir Ali says, does your developer or AdMob account terminated ever? Yeah, I talked about it before. My developer account has been terminated. My AdMob hasn't, but I've had ads stopped. If yes, how did you get reinstated? Appeal. Right? And then when you're done appealing, appeal again. That's the only way it's going to happen. There's no other way. There's no other way, because Google, they're the ones in charge, right? You need somebody to look at it, and if they look at it and they feel like you're not that you don't deserve to be reinstated, then I would just appeal again. I mean, like, what do you have to lose? LearnPire says, hey, Eric, is there any app marketer sites who provide paid app install? Does it worth? It's been paid app marketer sites who provide paid app installs. Does it worth? I've never used any, so I'm not sure. Phil says, regarding Apple fanboy, you have an ironic tie, hat, and black-white stream. So what's with the outfit? Look, maybe I should be an Apple fanboy. Maybe I'm getting too full of myself. Cirillo says, there's a developer name. Apparently the package names I put down won't show. Pub, the Yo-Yo Inc. Let's see if we can have a look. I'm not finding it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. There's too many yo-yos. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Cyril. I can't seem to see it there. Appavelli, happy Friday. Appavelli, we need to get you back on here again. We need to get you back on live stream. Hey, if you want to dress up, we can both dress up together. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Flutter is for babies. I want that on the back of my car. Look, shoot, Flutter's not for babies. I'm not gonna let anybody spread that rumor. You tell me which video YouTuber said that, and I'll challenge them to a hot dog eating contest. It's Noir Day, yeah. Woo. Let's see. What? It goes along with 1940s private. I think. Oh. Let's see. Eric's going to look for the Maltese Falcon after live stream. God, that was a good movie. You know, I remember reading the Raymond Chandler. I tried to read some of the Raymond Chandler books. I like the Humphrey Bogart one. That would be cool, right? I think I'm starting to show as I get older, I start getting interested in World War II documentaries and old films. Like, I've been through all the John Wayne ones. Like, at one point, I went through this whole thing with John Wayne. Oh, for those guys, if you're looking for a movie to watch this weekend on Amazon Prime, it's The Queen and Slim was really good. I watched that last night. I also saw Taken. Well, I said I've been working early. I saw 2 movies this week. Taken, which I'd never seen before, which was really good. It's like, how did I miss that? It was like hugely culturally popular, and The Queen and Slim was really good. Let's see. But yeah, the Maltese Falcon, that would be good to watch this weekend. Raphael Brown says, Eric, do you have any thoughts you want to share about Epic Game Store versus Google and Apple trials? Yeah, you know what? In some ways, like this is like, not to be wishy-washy about this, but I can see both sides of it. Like, first of all, like, I'm sure Epic Games could have gone to Apple and said, look, we're making you loads of money. Give us a deal, right? And Apple and Google probably would have said, or maybe they did say it. Maybe Apple and Google said no, but they would have said, okay, well, yeah, you're right. You are bringing in millions. Maybe we could, go to 20% or 10% or whatever, right? But they didn't. They basically made it an issue. So it's like, as a developer, like, it kind of feels like they're making this about all of us together, which is cool, right? And there's another part of me that thinks they knew this going in, right? Doesn't have to be on iPhone. iPhone is not, it's iPhone and Android and Google Play. First of all, with the Google Play, Apple and Android are two separate things, right? Android, you could just put the APK someplace else, right? You could just show people how to sideload it. Just basically go in and allow third-party downloads, and they can go past it. With the Apple side of things, they can't. Apple does have a monopoly. Apple does, their platform is not available to anybody. So that's two completely separate things. Of two minds about that. But then there's the other part of me that thinks, Apple and Google, they're doing just fine, right? I know they don't make a lot of money from my 30%, So, you know, I suppose that these big guys, they rely on that. They rely on it. Apple and Google are just barely scraping by. God, I feel really bad for them. They've really been hit hard by this pandemic. Now they've just been, you know, I don't. I'm of two minds about it. Like going into it, we all knew about the 30%, right? Is it a lot? Yes, it is. But you know, so I don't know. What do you guys think about it? I mean, I'm trying to get on either side. Maybe it was Apavelli because a few weeks ago I was like, yeah, Epic's gonna show these guys, and Apavelli was like, well, you know, it was kind of the agreement. I was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, like so I'm so wishy-washy when it comes to this thing. Right? I'm like, you know, I wish I could put my foot down in the ground and say, this is where I stand. I'm like, no, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point too. Which is why you should have a flat structure when you use a real-time database. Yeah, yes, that's right. That's true. Iftikhar Hussein says, did you ever try your own ad network? I have millions of traffic. Can you suggest me to start my own ad network company? No, I never have. Well, your picture's sideways, by the way. Like, no. I mean, if you're gonna start your own ad network company, you would have to establish a relationship. You would have to have the relationship with the developers on the one side and the publishers on the other side, right? And if you don't have enough developers, publishers are not going to be interested. If you don't have enough publishers, developers aren't going to be interested. But I've never thought about doing that. Hi, Eric. Can you see the future of the combination of Flutter and web? I've never used the Hummingbird side of things, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't. I wish I had an answer. I'm not really sure about that. Carlos says, Eric, thank you for your great content. Thank you very much. Have you ever considered made a course for Udemy? I thought, do you know what puts me off doing a course? It even puts me off doing a Patreon or any kind of thing. Is just, it feels like if I started charging for something, then it would be like I'm sold out. And I know that's stupid. It's something that I need to do. I think it's something I'll probably think about doing in the future. Just having some sort of course, right? Or something, but you know, I don't want it to be like, I think it's like I watch a lot of like on YouTube, I watch like CoffeeZilla and Mike Winnett and stuff like that. And all these people are trying to sell you the dream of app development, become rich as an app developer. I wouldn't want to be that. I would want it to be something like, oh, here's how you do this in Flutter. Here's how you do this in Xamarin. Here's how you set up a Google Play account. Something like that, like just like factual stuff. Like you go in there, okay, thanks for teaching me how to do that, and not making any promises about riches or lifestyle or anything like that. So that would be something that I would consider doing. But there's also so many people out there that do it really, really well. If you look at from the Flutter side, RezoCoder does an awesome job on his tutorials, and there's like loads of others who do it too. Let's see, Rondir, what is the average cost per install? Yeah, that was the previous question, I think. Hi, Eric. I'm learning web development, but still love to hear you. Yeah, web is still good. I haven't turned my back on web. Web is still, yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not anti-web. I decided to focus on apps, right? And people like I've had people say, why don't you say you do apps and this and this and this and this? And I'm like, well, because then you're like, you know, it's easier just to focus on one thing. And when people are looking for apps, they find me. Rav Rons, hey bro, how you been? Been all right, been good. Ooh, we're approaching an hour here. I need to get going here in a minute. Oops, wait. Robert T says, I'm thinking of making a new Android app. Should I make a teleprompter app, a business card scanner? Thoughts? Ooh. Okay, so I've downloaded teleprompter apps before, and I haven't really found them to be very useful. So I've got somewhere around here, probably in a box. Like I did buy one of those little parrot teleprompter things because I thought I would use it when I first started doing videos, so I would know what to say, and I just couldn't keep up with it. First of all, I had one that was voice controlled where it would like listen to me and scroll automatically. It didn't work. I mean, I have an American accent. Like if voice control doesn't understand my accent, then you know. But that never worked very well for me. So that's the kind of thing where, I mean, with the rise of people getting into YouTube, I would think the teleprompter one would be that, like, and that would be what you would be selling them on. Like, you don't know what to say on camera. You think you sound awkward. Make sure you have this application, right? Whereas a business card scanner, I mean, it's how many of those are there out there? And I've never had a good one of those either. Janelle says, sad fast. I agree completely. Shibiro says, I want to learn cross-platform language for apps. Which one do you recommend? React Native or Flutter? God, I've never been asked that before. I would say Flutter. I like Flutter. I've been dealing with React Native today, trying to get something to compile on my machine that the developers have been working on. And of course, there's some dependency missing. It could be something's missing for the package.json, and I'm being unfair about the whole language because of it. But UK Bass says, do you create a landing page for each app? Do you use analytics to optimize your landing page over time, or just launch and forget? You could run ads cheaper than through AdWords. Yeah, you could. I did do that. I was doing that for a while because I found that if I was going to do Facebook ads to a web page, they were a whole lot cheaper than doing Facebook ads to an app. Facebook ads to an app were like, they were like, I think it was like $1 per install, and this was like 4 or 5 years ago. But if I went to a web page, it was like 30 cents. Of course, through the if I go straight to the ads, then I could track it all the way through. Whereas if I go to a landing page, I couldn't necessarily track that because it's not going to, so it would be that disconnect. But let's see. Hi, Eric. Flutter and web. What is the future? Web is always going to be there. Web is web. Everybody needs a website. Not everybody needs an application. I still am. Me personally, I like JavaScript. And the whole Flutter Hummingbird thing. Or using Dart on the server, I've never really been that into that. So, but yeah, the web is always going to be there. But yeah, there's loads of web developers out there, and there's, for me, when I think about going back to web, I think about, oh, this doesn't look good on Edge, or it seems to be acting a little bit funny on Opera. Oh, it's on the older version of Firefox, we're getting this. It was like, God, it was too much, right? It was just too many different variations. And talk about screen sizes. I mean, we have so many different screen sizes on Android, but it's nothing compared to a resizable window. At least on a mobile device, you don't need to respond to the resize event necessarily. I guess you will, maybe if you have one of those folding phones. I've never dealt with it. I've never but I think they're both going to be, I don't think one's going to take over, especially, and if there was one to take over, it would be web taking over. It'd be like mobile apps just stop being a thing because the web is not going to go away. It would be, I would be okay with 30% if they would have let me use my own payment provider, but they don't, so I'm not okay with it. Yeah, but their payment provider is such an easy purchase, right? They don't have to enter a password anywhere. It's just a button. I mean, it is more difficult now because you have to enter the password again. Phil J says, Apple, Google, 30%. Many people fail to realize what a pain it is to pay tags in every country. Yeah, that's right, tax in every country around the world where you sold your app. Also, the people that re-download the apps cost money. That's true. I mean, this is one of the things with the big difference. Another big difference between Apple and Google is that Apple, they handle all that tax stuff, and Google is like, yeah, you get that itemized thing where you have to pay the VAT in each of those countries. 30% is a lot, but your app also available everywhere, so most people is probably more than the dollars in their pocket. Don't know exactly. What's your forecast on demand for Flutter devs? I think it's going to increase. I mean, I've seen so many people get into it, right? And it's and I just, I think it's great. We talked about earlier that Google is going to do the Google Pay through that. So I think it's something that's works pretty well. Let's see. Eli, sorry, how many apps have you built with Flutter, or how was your experience compared to other frameworks? So to be honest with you, I built one application with Flutter. So that's it. And it really was a development company that was supposed to do it. I've done like a bunch of Hello Worlds and stuff like that, and just started projects in Flutter, but then like running out of time, and I would go like, so there's when I started in Flutter, and it wasn't a shortcoming of the Flutter language. It was more the time that I had to do it. I had an app I had to get done in 3 weeks, and I thought I would use this as a perfect opportunity to learn Flutter. And then I would run into a little roadblock, which would be something to do like me having the wrong thing installed or whatever. And I was like, I don't have time. I don't have time to mess around with this. I'll just go straight to Xamarin. So I just Xamarin and did it. But it wasn't like a shortcoming of the language itself. So, and the one that I am working on, it was another developer started working on it. And now I'm just going through and rewriting it. I mean, like, oh boy, this is my life lately. My life. Why skipped my question? Subs? What's your why average average cost per install? Is that what is your average cost per install? Were you asking me that? My average cost per install was about $1. It was like £1 actually. It depends on on what you're doing. So my cost per install through Facebook was about £1. Sometimes it'd be 3 or 4. It depends on the quality of the ad. So yeah, it wasn't. No, I'm trying. To be honest with you, around here, I try to answer every single question. Right? If I miss one, it's not intentional. Let's see. Rodriguez said, I thought you were about to start, but you've been live for an hour already. I did, dude. Man, you're late. Where you been? Where you been, Rodrigo? Where have you been? Where have you been? Did the forget you to buy ink? Did you forget to buy? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. Or dark mode. Oh yeah, dark mode. That's what we could have called it. I should have checked with you, Rodrigo. I decided to do this like 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago, right? And we could have called it Overpass Live Dark Mode. That would have been awesome. All right. Fist007 says, web is only at its beginning. I expect a future that most all desktop apps will be web-based unless we run out of physical space available bandwidth. Yeah, web does, I mean, but yeah, I'll say desktop. I mean, applications do have their benefits, but yeah, it is kind of funny that the reason we use HTML and JavaScript is because that's what all the browsers use, right? And when we had when Internet Explorer was out, they would try to get everybody using Visual VB script in the browser, and then you could use it, but they had this competitor that wasn't using it, so we all went back to JavaScript. I mean, those of us who did use VB script in the browser, which was weird. It was weird when you're doing classic ASP and you have a little bit on the server and a little bit on the client. It's all in the same file and it's all the same language. It was like, you just got so used to being VB script on one and then JavaScript on the client after it renders. Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like if the web, the decentralized. No, the centralized. I mean, the server-based model, it does work really well, which is why so many desktop apps went away towards web. But there are limitations of web, which is the stateless nature of it and everything like that, which could easily be overcome if people would just agree on those standards. And I know the PWA stuff is kind of going in that way. Web already took over. You probably spend most of your time in a browser. That's true. Yeah, it definitely has. Eric, we never run out of time when we start a project. We run out of interest. It's very true. Or not. Everybody smash that like button. Yeah, everybody smash that like button. Let's see. Baraka's here, everybody. We can go home. Baraka, shut up. Hi, everybody. Busy week this week, and my app made it to the 168th on photos and videos in the U.S. Ooh, nice. Let's see. Cord Funk says, Gad, hope we can get away from HTML and CSS in the next decade, or at least have a better alternative. Yeah, I know it's really for those of you guys who never did stuff on the web only and know what it's like to test across all the different browsers, and this is why stuff like jQuery, when that came in, it was like a godsend because it handled a lot of that stuff for you. So doing stuff like using vanilla JavaScript in the browser was great, and you knew exactly what you were doing, but like it might not be, some features might not be supported on Firefox or Safari or whatever. And if you were like me and you only had like a Windows PC when I was doing web development, like it would like Safari on a Mac, that was like a completely different thing. So let's see. Flutter is kind of that. The problem is SEO. I think it's pizza time. It is pizza time. We're gonna have to wrap things up. What about 5G? Should developers prepare for 5G network apps, especially in high data transmission, or wait till 5G hits the market? For me, I don't see how 5G would affect me at all, right? Because I don't necessarily behave as if the data connection. I mean, the only thing I could do is like download more data and just be more frivolous with the amount of data that I download, right? It's like, rather than just download a JSON packet, I might as well download several binaries at the same time, because screw it, it's 5G. I would still have to assume that 5G is not going to be available everywhere. So for me, I'm never going to, like, I don't see that as being the same way I don't think about hardware changes, right? For me, you know, what I do is going to be more performant. There's nothing I'm lacking because, oh, we only got these, you know, short stuff. But hey guys, Steve. Yeah, Steve, we need to do a live stream, but you do it at the same time. That would be great. Hey, everybody, Steve's here. Yeah, Steve. Look, Steve. All right, let me tell you, Steve, you got me to up my game here, right? Doing it at the same time. You got a guest every week. Dude, man, I got to go all black and white. I got to go all retro. Anyway, yeah, dude, we should definitely do a live stream together. Hey, we should have like a fight. That would be great. We get everybody in. We can raise money. Definitely, let's do a live stream. That would be fun. It's good to hear you. I'm good to hear from you. I have to watch your live streams, obviously, later on, but they're always really good. Let's see. And Cordfunk says, kind of like Swift, but don't like iOS. Really? Eric, have you made landing pages in WordPress? If so, how can you protect web injection, etc.? There should be no like web injection. That has nothing to do with the landing pages. That's yeah. I mean, that would be the same with any web page, like regardless. Let's see. Hey, let me know, guys. Would you guys like to see me and Steve do a live stream? We'll have to like argue about the time slot because he's got his going on. That'd be kind of good. Rodrigo says, actually got pizza for today. Yeah, dude, I gotta get going. I'm starving. Sorry, I planned it at the same time. Let's see. CEO Swag says, in my opinion, India planning to make its own app store for Android and iOS. Any opinion? Any opinion? I haven't. Love it. Thanks, Steve. Glad to see you here. In the next several decades, we will live on Mars, and Dart will be the next new JavaScript. That's true. And the flying cars and jumpsuits, and we just have one pill for all of our nutrients for the day. Are you on TikTok? No, I'm not. I started to. Like, I watched all this Gary Vee stuff, and he talks about like going on to TikTok. And so I got TikTok, and I told my team, all right, we're going to take the videos and we're going to make them shorter, like TikTok versions of them. And then I looked at TikTok and thought, this is not my thing. This is not my thing. Like I tried, like, and it's like, once I started looking, I think I might be too old for TikTok. I mean, but maybe, who knows? We might do it. Let's see. Phil J, have a great weekend. Hey, everybody, have a great weekend. I don't like browsers complying to web standards. Thanks, Eric. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining the live stream this week. Thanks for showing up, Steve. We have to do like a live stream together, right? We can have like a collab and everything. Everybody, thanks for joining the live stream. I hope you guys stay safe, healthy the next week. I'm trying to get a video done during the week, but I've been really bad about getting those done. And have a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll talk to you again next week.